the conversation that I eventually had with William was that I really wanted him to stay in the band, and I really wanted him to be the drummer. But I was going to play drums on the record.
I don't know whether it was management, the record company, Gil, all the above, Dave, that wanted him to play drums and didn't want me to play drums or whatever, but him redoing the drum parts has never been explained to me.
It's a tough thing to talk about because I know that William will never forgive me for playing drums on that record. I know it. And I wish things were different. But I felt like this is what I had to do in order to make this album happen.
We talked and Dave said, I still want you to, tour the record, and I was just like, dude, I mean, I have to, as it is now, I have to rebuild my soul or re-find it. If, it's like, if I do that, it's like, see ya. So, thanks, but no thanks.
It was a really weird time. And I was young. What the fuck?
I heard on the radio, Foo Fighters drummer has left the band. And I was like, whoa, really? I wonder if they have a drummer yet. I remember vividly my brother saying, you should be in this band. And I was like, well, fuck, yeah, that'd be great, wouldn't it? I would have loved to have been in The Who and James Addiction and Led Zeppelin, too.
Around that time, Taylor Hawkins is playing drums with Alanis Morissette, and she was blowing up. I'd seen him play before, and there's no question the dude's a monster on the drums.
It's funny, because back there's Taylor just fucking like, just fucking killing it. Like, oh my God.
We all love Taylor, but he was in a band, and he was in the biggest band around at the time.
We were kind of in a pinch, We had just recorded this record, and we had to go out and start doing shit.
So Dave calls him up and is like, hey man, do you know any good drummers?
It's like, yeah, I'll be your fucking drummer. Let me try out.
I remember saying to Taylor, you realize that we're not as big as Alanis Morissette.
I'm like, I know, but I want to be in a band and I want to be part of something like that. And he said, well, if you try out and if we jam and you have to be in the band.
Dave called me like, you remember Taylor? Like, oh yeah. It's like, yeah, I think he'd be the drummer. And I reacted poorly to that.
When I was hanging out with Dave and me and him were bouncing off the walls and everything, and Nate was just going, oh no, not another one of these fucking guys. I can't take two of these spazzes in one band.
I didn't think our personalities were compatible. He's just this like outgoing, like Southern California surfer dude.
Say something funny. I don't know anything funny.
I just came from a different world, and I was like, that guy, he is not a guy I'm going to be in a band with. No way. It's like, he's really good. Like, okay.
Foo Fighters とお送りしてる MTV ロックス。ドラマーがね、今度新しくまた加わったということなんで、その辺をね、聞こうと思うんだけど。About your new drummer? Yeah, you got a new drummer.
Got a new drummer.
Yeah, from the Alanis Morissette band.
That's right.
Yeah.
His name's Taylor Hawkins, and is that his last name?
Yeah, I think it is. According
He's really new.
We just met him.
He's really new.
So now Taylor's in the band, and he comes in his first day at rehearsals, and Pat quits the band. Right then and there.
Pat says, hey, you guys, can I talk to you guys for a second? And I said, yeah, sure. We walk outside, and he goes, I gotta leave the band. I'm like, what the fuck? Why?
I was just so sick of it. I was just so sick of the whole thing. I want to go out on another, bazillion show tour, and I don't care. I just don't want to do this anymore.
When you join a band the first week and one of the members decides, like, ever since you've been there, he's going to quit, you're like, obviously it's me.
I was shocked. I was shocked. I begged him to stay in the band. He said, no, man, I'm just not into it anymore.
Like, essentially, right when we're about to go out and start our tour, like, here's these new songs, Pat quits, and so he's kind of got us in a bad spot.
I asked him to stay until we could get someone to replace him.
So we made a deal that I would tour for 6 weeks till the new guy was ready, but it stretched out to, I think, 6 months maybe.
So Pat has quit the band, but he's still playing with us. That gives us some time to integrate Franz Stahl, who became the second guitar player in the band.
I'd known Dave for years. We grew up in the same city. And he was in my first band, this punk rock band called Scream.
When I left Scream to join Nirvana, the one relationship that felt the most strained was my relationship with Franz. I think that he resented me for leaving. It took a while, and then we reconciled and we became friends again, and that moment where Pat said, I don't want to be in the band anymore, I immediately thought, I'm going to call Franz.
I was on tour in Japan, and I get the phone call from Dave, and wants to know if I'd like to join the Foo Fighters.
There wasn't any sort of musical audition. I just thought, hey, Franz, you want to be in the Foo Fighters? And he said, yes.
And then the next day, I was on the roof of Radio City Music Hall.
Please give a warm welcome to Foo Fighters.
We were playing at the MTV Awards on top of the marquee. It's kind of like a warm-up act.
And so I played the first song, and then I quit. And then Franz came up and he joined.
It happened just so fast. And I was still jet lagged from Japan.
Hello! Last song we played was my last song with the band. I would like to introduce you to Franz Stahl, who will be taking over.
Hi.
Thank you. Rock on, guys! Foo Fighters!
It was all very new to me because I was always used to slumming it, you know, like sleeping on people's floors and just getting by, you know, and this was a whole new level. When I joined the Foo Fighters, it was like, you know, you made it, you hit it, and you're getting recognized for it. It was awesome.
Once Franz joined the band, we did what we always did. We went on the road. We played as many places, as many shows as we could. And it was starting to grow. Like, you could see there were 2,000 people, 3,000 people, 4,000 people at gigs. We were no longer playing the afternoon slot at the festival. We were playing the evening slot at the festival. And there was a song on the radio, Everlong, and all of a sudden there were videos on MTV, and it was happening to us. That thing that happens to new bands when they start to get popular.
We got Franz.
That's right.
Myself. That's right. Franz joined the band on air.
That was a great big surprise.
It was awesome, man. And it's the best year we've ever had as a band. And Franz is, you know, he's the dude.
I love the first two records, and there wasn't a song that I didn't enjoy, you know, and I certainly was looking forward to writing and you know, leaving my mark.
Franz is a great guy and a sweet guy, and I got really close with him. And it just seemed like it would be perfect.
We were rehearsing and writing at the time and coming up with song ideas. And Taylor and Nate and I seemed to have this thing where we were on the same page and we were jamming and coming up with something together. And Franz just didn't seem to find his place in all of that.
In Scream, I wrote all the music. You know, I wrote the majority of it. My brother would write the lyrics, you know. So I was very hands-on, you know, but it was Dave's band, and he writes all the music. I was kind of leery of pushing my ideas, you know, so I wasn't trying to be as vocal about it.
For some reason, the four of us together wasn't right. It never congealed into feeling like a band. It's just chemistry.
We had to talk with Dave about it, and he didn't want to hear it, but he knew that that's what the situation was.
My relationship with Franz is much different than everybody else's relationship with Franz. I'd known the guy since I was 18, and we had cut our teeth together. It was tough, man. I mean, honestly, like, it was just, you know, a great old friend of mine that, unfortunately, I was asking to leave the band. And that's not to say that he's not a fucking great musician, because, of course, everybody knows he is, but when we worked together as four people, it just didn't gel, you know?
We got on some kind of conference call or something and told him we were going to get a different guitar player, and there was a lot of sadness and drama surrounding that. It was ugly.
Basically, I got a phone call. I got a fucking phone call. And it just all ends right there. I don't even know how to react, you know?
There's just no nice way of saying you're out of the band, you know?
I'm not exactly sure what happened. You know, I was in the band, and for whatever reason, I was out of the band. But, I mean, it was the best 2 years of my life, you know?
Most bands go through the same shit that we had been through up until that point before anybody's ever heard of them. Unfortunately, we went through all of those embarrassing growing pains in public. By 1998, I would sit down to do an interview and people would say, okay, so fucking who's in the band right now? Has anybody else left in the last month and a half? But there was always Nate. I was staying at my mother's house. Yes. And I got a call from Nate. So what's up, man? He goes, I gotta leave the band. And I just thought, oh, Jesus fucking Christ. I said, okay. At this point, my response to a member leaving was like, all right, why?
Serenity Real Estate had gotten back together, and I had a lot of really formative experiences with them. So I had this like high school crush, kind of irrational attraction to that project. And I was tortured, and I called up Dave.
And I was fucking pissed. And I think I told him, okay, you know what? You call everyone and tell them you quit. I'm gonna go fucking get drunk.
As soon as I got off the phone, I knew it was the wrong thing to do. That I was going to be happier in Foo Fighters. It was a better thing for me to be doing. I called a couple friends, like, I just quit the band. I feel really weird about it. Yeah, it's like, yeah, because that was a dumb idea.
Me and my buddy Jimmy took my rental car out to Ribsters. We got fucking shit-faced, rallied my rental car, fucking threw rocks at it all night, busted out windows, drove other people's lawns, and I wound up stumbling home and woke up at 7 in the morning in the bedroom that I grew up in as a kid with my mom saying, David, Nate's on the phone.
I called him the next morning at like 6 a.m. I was wigged out, and I think it caught him off guard. And
I'm sorry, man. I don't really want to quit the band. I don't know what I was thinking.
He's like, good. It's like, yeah, this is better. Sorry about that.
I was still wasted, too. I was just lying in bed like, I love you, man. I'm glad you don't want to quit. So we decided that we're going to make this next record as a three-piece. We had just made this super hyper-produced record, which we slaved over and lost 2 band members. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to buy a house in Virginia. I'm going to build a studio in the basement, and we're going to make this record without any fucking record company